Hi, everyone. We will start in a few. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lily Pinedo Biancay. I am the program director for the Chicanx Latinx Student Success Center here at San Jose State. And we are just thrilled that you are able to join us this afternoon at our Pásale Academic Advisor Conocimiento. I'm really thrilled to have our 5 academic advisors from our 5 different college student success centers join me this afternoon so that you all have a better opportunity to get to know them on a deeper level. Advising at San Jose State is not centralized, so it could be at times very confusing trying to navigate who you go to for advising. So that is the purpose of our event today, is for you to be more aware of who do you go to ask for these very key academic advising questions, and for you to feel empowered to know who to go to ask those questions and feel that you can have those needs answered. We're gonna quickly also take a poll to see who's joining us this afternoon. Then we'll move into the introduction. So each academic advisor will have an opportunity to briefly introduce themselves, but then we'll dive right afterwards into our conocimiento, so you get to know who they are on a deeper level. We'll end it with sharing a little bit more of what the rest of the week is going to look like. As you may have noticed from our flyer, there are going to be college-specific advising sessions happening the rest of this week. So we'll include more information on there. And then we'll end it with some Q&A. So before we get to know who the advisors are, we're going to take a quick poll so that we know who you are. We want to know who's in the house, so I'm going to launch a poll here. So if you can go ahead and just engage us for a couple of minutes to let us know what college you're affiliated with. And then, of course, what is your class standing? Are you a new student to San Jose State, or are you a continuing student? Give it just another couple seconds. All right, so I'm going to share the results here. So we have some representation from the College of Health and Human Sciences. We have our College of Social Sciences taking the lead, which is not surprising. In fact, a majority of our Latinx students are affiliated with the College of Social Science. Some folks may not know, again, this is completely okay. It is very confusing knowing we have so many different majors and we might not always know which college it falls under. And we've also had some changes within our university where some of the majors have shifted from college to a different college. So it's perfectly okay not to be sure. That's why you're here today. So glad that you made it. Looks like we have good representation from our transfer students. So welcome. And of course our Frosh. So thank you for participating in that poll. I'm now going to turn it over to, well, Jesus actually couldn't make it this afternoon, but he did leave a video for you all, but I'm going to do a quick introduction to Jesus. Jesus Santos, his preferred gender pronouns are he and him. He's been advising for now 3 years, but at San Jose State, he's been here for a year now. And he is an advisor with the Engineering Student Success Center. And I asked the advisors what's one of the most exciting things that they enjoy about being an academic advisor. And for Jesus, he said, it's knowing when students have that aha moment, when things finally click. Again, trying to navigate a university advising system isn't always easy. And so for him, he says, just being able to see their aha moments is something that really, he finds really, exciting, because he's like, it's like seeing your own child grow up from taking their first baby steps to then seeing them leave San Jose State and on to getting their jobs and internships and careers. So that was one of the things that Jesus shared that was one of the most exciting things about, and that he enjoyed the most about being an academic advisor.
Can I just say that I used to look like Jesus when I was 21. I turned 40, then boom, this happened.
¿Qué pasó? You still look good, Hugo. Still look good.
Thank you.
And now I'll turn it over to our next advisor to introduce themselves.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Priscilla Brambila. My preferred pronouns are she, her. In terms of advising, I've been doing that for 3 years. At San Jose State specifically, I'm almost reaching my 2nd year in November. I'm representing the College of Social Sciences. Our success center is called ACCESS, and it stands for Academic Counseling Center for Excellence in the Social Sciences. And something that I really enjoy from working as an academic advisor is hearing your stories and meeting you from orientation and sometimes seeing you like cross that stage. It's really rewarding to feed off of your energies, your goals, and excitement to be a student. So it's just really rewarding to be around that type of energy.
Thank you, Priscilla. Now I'll turn it over to Hugo.
Hola everybody. So my name is Hugo, and my pronouns are him, he, him, and his. And I've had 3.5 years at San Jose State, going on my 4th year, but I've had about many years working at various other places. And from those many years, I've also acquired expertise in working with not just a general education advisor, helping you graduate, but also my specialty would be, my niche would be health professions advising. So if any of you are interested in anything from nursing to podiatry to chiropractics, medical school, nursing school, I can help you. And the reason, what I like most about being an academic advisor is just watching your progression, experiencing you, whether I meet you as a FROS, as a transfer student, as a student in crisis, as a student who's just, in a groove and, kicking butt, and just helping you, seeing you progress all the way through graduation and beyond. So, I just get the thrill of helping you fill out those graduation sheets, and I go, yes, otro más. Yeah, that's me.
Gracias, Hugo. Now I'll turn it over to Stephanie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Garcia. My pronouns are she, hers, her. I've been an academic advisor for 3 years total at San Jose State and as an academic advisor. And prior to that, I worked 3 years at the design office, so a total of 6 years at San Jose State. I work in the Humanities and the Arts Student Success Center. And I think the best part about working as an advisor is that you same thing as Hugo, is that you get to see students progress through their career, right? Their educational career. And starting from the beginning to the end, this is something that you've been working for basically your entire life. And so to see the pride and the joy of when students complete their educational career is just the best thing. I know that when I completed mine, I was so happy. And so to see these students go through that same happiness and that same joy and know that they worked so hard to get there is beyond the best thing I can say as an advisor.
Thank you, Stephanie. Now I'll introduce Saul.
Hola, buenas noches to everyone. My name is Saul Reese. My pronouns are he, him, his. I've had 5 years total advising. I did like 2 years in high school, 2 years at a community college, and then now in the CSU system. This is going to be my second year at San Jose State, so I was new last year. And I work for the Lurie College of Education Student Success Center. We also call it the LCOE Success Center. And a big part of my job, besides advising students, is I also do, I work with students who want to apply to graduate school. I work at the graduate admissions team from our college. So if that's something you're interested in our college, definitely reach out. And like my colleagues mentioned, that aha moment is really good for, like, it's one of my favorite things, the aha moment, watching you grow. I think another important thing that I enjoy about advising is just getting to talk to you all, just having that relationship one-on-one. And like they all mentioned, all my colleagues, we get to watch your progression and development over time. And it's almost like having a front row seat. When you go to the movies, a front row, we get to be there and see you and support you. So I think that's what I love the most about advising. Thank you.
Thank you, Saul. And thank you all for introducing yourselves. And I'm really excited to have this amazing team here be a part and be a partner with Centro at the Chicanx Latinx Student Success Center. Some of you may not know, Centro only started 2.5 years ago, so we're still a very new Centro, but we've been able to establish strong partnerships with a lot of our different departments that are really key to helping all of our students be successful. But the advising piece is such a crucial piece to ensure that our students not only stay at San Jose State, but graduate in a timely fashion. And so having, I like to say, like a one-stop shop, having the advisors be a part of Centro and their connections, we're bridging them to the various college student success centers that exist on our university. Like I mentioned before, advising is it's comprehensive at our university, but it's decentralized. So it could be very confusing to identify, well, who do I go to ask for what? And so this is our attempt at having a one-stop shop for you to be able to access advisors who can guide you in the right direction. And again, remember, advising isn't just about scheduling your classes. The advisors are here to mentor you. They're here to guide you when it comes to not only your academics, but also maybe your certain career fields that you want to go into, but also just your personal growth. A lot of them can redirect you to different leadership development opportunities, internship opportunities in the community. And so this is where we want you to really see the advising relationship as more than just a one-time appointment. It really is about you cultivating a meaningful relationship that's collaborative. So it takes two. So the advisors are here para servirles, but vice versa. We also want to make sure that you're being proactive and reaching out to the advisors, not only when you need them, but start from the beginning. Just introduce yourselves so that they know what your aspirations are, your academic aspirations, but also your personal aspirations. And it's just creating a familia, a community, a network of professionals that will be able to guide you and ensure that you're going to be successful, not only during your time here at San Jose State, but beyond. So the purpose of today is for you to get to know who these advisors are on a deeper level. Who are these folks that you're going to be meeting with? So we're going to spend the next couple of minutes. Each advisor is going to introduce themselves again, tell us more about themselves beyond just the number of years that they've been advising or where they're advising us or where they've been advising at. But really, who are they? What's their cultura like? What's their familia like? What or who inspired them to be academic advisors? Describe what their academic advising philosophy is. I think this is a really critical piece because it's how they approach the relationship and what unique experiences influence this philosophy. And then lastly, knowing what they know now as academic advisors, what advice would they offer their college-age self? So this is going to be really exciting. So we're going to have each advisor take a few minutes to answer these questions, and then we'll save some Q&A for the end. So I'm going to have us starting off with, it's Saul is going to be our first advisor to share these answers. So Saul.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to stick to the time. I have some bullet points. So a little bit about myself. So I'm a first generation college student. I come from a low income family background. My parents didn't go to college. My mom, I think she actually graduated high school, but my dad stopped going to school after middle school. So it's just me and my sister. So when we were in college and learning about the process, it was really hard because we didn't have that support from my parents. They would like tell us like, échale ganas, you know, they would take us to whoever we needed to go to. But it's also hard not having someone there when you're actually doing the stuff. So I think that really did shape me and help me, I think, become a counselor because of all the stuff that I didn't have growing up. And I also, like I said, I was a Latino. I grew up in a traditional household. So what that means is that my parents really did instill like really good values in us since early on. The three biggest ones I can name is like we're really religious. In every Latino culture, religion is a big part of it. Same with us. All the holidays were all around religion. My parents always helped a lot at church. Another big value was big on family. I have a really big family. I'm really fortunate to have a big family. So we always do things as a family, and that's always been like the forefront. Growing up, I didn't really get to go to my friends' houses. It was always like, go to your primo's house, do this, do that. So that was really my background growing up. And the last big thing that the biggest virtue I think they instilled in me is to help others. My parents have always been people to help others. They never ask, they just are there to help. So I think watching them as I grew up really inspired me to want to help others. So I think that was a big part. And then my mom's side is from Zacatecas. My dad's from Guanajuato, and then I grew up in Morgan Hill, so it's really close to San Jose, the Bay Area. And some things I like to do on my days off is I had a lot of physical health problems last year with my back. So this year with quarantine, I was able to really focus on my health physically. So I've been doing a lot of like yoga, drinking a lot of water, doing a lot of exercises. So that's been really helpful in this last couple months. Who or what inspired me, academic counselor? I think having multiple bad experiences growing up as a student with the counselor was really what put me on the edge and was like, if there's not someone that's willing to help me, maybe I should be that person to someone else. So that was really big. And I think my senior year of college was when it finally hit me. And I was like, yes, I'm going to be a counselor. So I consistently pursued mentorship. So I went to my old high school. I talked to the counselor and I was like, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. What can you help me with? It was just conversations like that really helped me make a group of support network. So I think that's something crucial for students is knowing that you have that power and authority to like ask for help. And when you do that, you know, you'll get presented with all these opportunities. So I think that's going to be helpful in exploring what career you want to do is just having these informational interviews with just asking informal questions to learn the process. Once you learn the process, it all makes sense. And then you can make a better informed decision. And then I think another thing was that when I was a graduate student in grad school, that was when I got to learn about the other side of academic advising. And I really got to learn about policies, how to write them. During grad school, I was fortunate to be part of an NSF grant. So I actually got to work with like a grant focused on helping students of color become teachers. And then we'll go into the community colleges and doing the work there and helping them mentor them. Another thing too was that I also got to publish with my professor. We actually did a lot of research in college students because I was always wondering, like, why is this system not helping us? So I got to do a lot of research in community college system, and I actually got to publish that research. So it was really cool because my experience growing up, I actually got to put it and write a story about it. And then hopefully it's going to help other students. So I think that was a big key about academic advising. This philosophy I use as an advisor is I use a holistic perspective, which means that as a student, you're not just a student. You have a life. There's a physical side, there's an emotional side, there's a family side. So there's a lot of different sides as a person. We're very complex. We're also very intersectional, which means that all these identities cross. So when I'm advising you as a student, I always want to make sure I touch upon all those areas. Some of those areas can include, like, maybe what are your aspirational goals? Is there any language barriers? How is your family supporting you? How are you navigating this process? How can I help? Also, the resistance part, keeping the student motivated is, I think, also key, what I like to do. And I think it's really influenced by my background, growing up with bad advisors. But I think also in undergrad, I majored in sociology. And one of the things I learned was a sociological imagination. And essentially what it is that you get to see other perspectives of a similar situation. So if an event happens, you're taking yourself out of your thought and putting yourself in all these different perspectives. And it really makes you a better informed decision, but also makes you more open-minded and well-rounded. So I think I always use that in everything I do to make sure that I'm helping and aiding you holistically as a person. And I think just the different experiences I've had have just made me, go about this and have this advising philosophy. And it's always going to change, right? As a person, when we grow, our philosophy will also grow. But I think holistic perspective is something that's always going to stay there. And it's something I've been able to use in all my jobs I've had. I've been able to holistically advise students. Knowing what I know now as an advisor, what advice would I give my younger self? I would say 3 things. Get involved, because getting involved will open more possibilities and also will show you what that field can do for you. So get involved in everything. And even if you don't want to be involved in afterwards, at least you tried, right? So try first. And if you don't like it, that's okay. We can try something else. Another thing is we have to normalize self-care. I think as a student, a lot of things going on. And right now, especially, there's a lot going on. So sometimes we forget that we're human and, it's hard. So I think that normalizing self-care and also being able to take a break, because we need a breather, stress levels, anxiety levels are up. So I feel like normalizing self-care and really putting ourselves first and our holistic self first, our physical and emotional needs, will also help us thrive in other areas. And also the last thing I would say is dream big. I think the biggest piece of advice I was ever given was to have really big dreams that are scary, because that way you're going to always be chasing something. So if you don't end up where your goal is, at least you'll end up somewhere close. So I've always really focused on having long-term goals, but then making a plan that's step by step to help me get there. So I think that's all the questions I had. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Saul. I think for me, a couple of the bullet points that really hit home that I think are really important for our students to know is, you mentioned the importance of asking for help. I think that's a really key piece of advice, especially now, considering that we're moving toward, we're moving, we are in this virtual platform, and it could be very confusing trying to navigate who do you go and talk to and who do I ask for help on certain things. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out and ask for help. I am so glad that each of you made it today to connect with us via this event, because this is a starting point. And for us, it's the importance of getting to know not just a resource, but a specific person that you can feel comfortable and that you trust, right? You have that confianza that you will get an answer and an accurate answer. So thank you so much, Saul, for sharing your testimonio and your experiences. I'm now going to be inviting Stephanie to share her story and her background.
Great, thank you, Lily. So a little bit about myself. I am a cisgender lesbian woman, and I identify as Mexican American. For those of you who do not know what cisgender means, is that I identify with the gender that I was assigned at birth. So hence she, hers, her. I am a native of San Jose, and I basically have lived here my whole life. I haven't gone anywhere else. I mean, I've gone to travel, but I haven't lived anywhere else. So I love San Jose. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. My parents, well, my father was born in Mexico, and my mother was born in Texas, 2 immigrant parents. And so you know, growing up, it wasn't the traditional Mexican household. I wouldn't say that it was traditional in the sense that when my father arrived here to the United States, he met my mother when he was 14. And so they kind of grew up together. And in order for my father to learn English, they decided that they would not speak Spanish in the house, because if they spoke Spanish, he would not learn how to speak English. And so we really didn't speak Spanish in the house. It wasn't our first language. English was our first language. And so, so I don't speak fluent Spanish. I understand Spanish. I can speak it, but it's not fluent. I would say if I can say it's related to anything, I would say, like, if you know Selena and how she could sing in Spanish, but she couldn't really speak it, I would say that's how I am. I can sing in Spanish perfectly, but I can't really speak it perfectly. So that's how I would say I am with my Spanish fluency. But don't be afraid to come and talk to me. You know, when we come back in the center, I am more than happy to listen to anything you have to say in Spanish. And if I can reply, I will. But yeah, that's mainly how I grew up. I really grew up in the English-speaking household. My parents both have high school educations. And because they didn't go to college, they always told me and my siblings, which I have 3 older brothers, that, you know, in order to do better in life, that we had to go to school, that, you know, college was not it was a must. We had to go to college. And if we didn't want to go to college, then we would know that we would have to work harder for everything that we got. And so each of my siblings went to school. We all have our college degrees. I was not the first in my family to get a degree, but I am the first to get my master's degree. And so that was really special to me that I was able to do that. And so like many of our households, you know, my culture, you know, I was raised and taken care of by my maternal grandmother, who was from Mexico and only spoke Spanish. And so I got a lot of my culture from her. She was a big part of my life, you know, and that's why I do know a little bit of Spanish, because I did have to communicate with her. And she took care of us, and she showed us, you know, the customs of what she learned in Mexico, and in the food, in the religion, you know, and everything that she did. She taught us that. And so that's a big part of where I get my culture, my customs, and everything that I do. So, and especially family. I think for everyone here, family is very important. And for me, it's no different. You know, I have many tios and tias and cousins that I grew up close with, and I still try to communicate with them. Even in shelter in place, I do Zooms or FaceTime calls with my family as much as I can, just to stay connected. And so I think that's really important, that, you know, just even in this environment, even though we can't go to each other's houses, that, you know, there are ways that we can stay connected to our family like we are used to doing. And so that's a little bit about me, a little bit about, you know, what got me here to this position that I am in as an academic advisor. It really was, in the beginning, I went to undergrad as a liberal studies prep for teaching. So I really wanted to be a teacher. I knew I loved kids. I knew I loved teaching. And so I did my undergrad in liberal studies prep for teaching. But then I did my internship in a classroom for 1st grade and 3rd grade, and really realized that it wasn't for me, that teaching was a lot of work, and you had to have a lot of passion. And the people that do teaching, I applaud them, because it's a real, you have to have a real passion to do it. And I just felt that my passion wasn't in it. And so I realized that I did not want to become a teacher, but I knew that I wanted to still work with students in some capacity. And so after I graduated with my degree, because at that point I didn't have any option but to graduate, I was almost done at that point. I took a year off to try to figure out what I wanted to do. And I had a family friend who was a counselor at a high school. And so I talked to him, and I found out that, you know, you can be a counselor at a high school, but you could also do the same kind of things at a community college or a college level. And I automatically thought, yes, this is exactly what I want. I still want to work with students, and I want to work with students in higher education. And so a year later, I went back to school, and I got my MA in education with the focus in counseling. And so that's what basically got me to being an academic advisor. And so that's what got me there at that point. What kind of philosophy do I have as an academic advisor? And I think the primary role is to support student success, right? So I want students to be able to take control of their education and how to navigate basically the institution that they're in, because there is always going to be complexities in the institution, and it's having a way to navigate that, right? So to see an advisor and to be able to show a student that there's ways to go around things and there's ways to get knowledge on certain things that the institution may be putting barriers around you. And so, you know, my philosophy is to have students to have the knowledge to be able to maneuver in the institution, and then, you know, just to recognize the diverse experience of all the students that we have on our campus, right? That nobody is the same, that everybody has different experiences, even if we come from the same, you know, culture, we all have different experiences. And so that as an advisor, I want students to know that I look at them as a unique person, as a unique student, and give them that personalized advising that they need. And then I think the final one was, as an advisor, what kind of, what information would I give to you, knowing what I know now then? And I think the most important thing is to, you know, like Saul said, to be a part of something on campus, to be part of a student org, you know, being just a part of this right now is being a part of something. And so I think that's really helpful. I know when I was an undergrad student, I didn't like going to school. I went to class, I went home because there was nobody that looked like me, and I just didn't feel comfortable. And so I would just go to class and go home. When I did my grad school, that was a totally different story. I had people that looked like me, and I loved it. And that was the best part. And so even if your classes, you don't have people that look like you, maybe you can go to the center and there's people that have the same experiences, that have similar likes as you, and that will make you want to go to school and make you want to be a part of something. And so I definitely feel strongly about being a part of some kind of organization. And the other thing is to use faculty office hours. A lot of faculty just sit in their offices, you know, waiting for students to come and ask questions. And so you want to definitely utilize those office hours and take advantage of that. And then most importantly, I have to plug this in, academic advisors. You want to use us. We're here to help you and guide you through whatever you need, provide you with resources. And so utilize us. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you. I want to make you feel comfortable, and I'm sure everyone else here wants to make you feel comfortable in being able to come to us and ask us questions. And so that's the ultimate thing. Don't stay silent. Ask questions. Be a part of things, because that's what's going to get you through your college career. I think that is it for me.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And I can definitely resonate with not being as fluent in Spanish. I speak Spanish as well, but it's not as fluent. It's like my mom usually says, "Ay, te oyes bien pocha," right, in Mexico. You know? And that's something that oftentimes we even heard our students ask us, well, you know, can I be a part of Centro? I don't speak Spanish, and that's absolutely okay. We come from different backgrounds, different generations, and so we are inclusive of everybody and all of your experiences. So don't worry, Steffi, you're not alone, and I appreciate you sharing your story. I'm now going to turn it over to, let's see, Hugo, to introduce himself. Oh, déjame regresarme.
Let me unmute myself.
I don't want to take your questions away.
So first of all, I feel immensely proud of being part of this group of advisors. I genuinely feel for you students that you guys are so privileged, I would say, that you have such an experienced and caring group of people that are here from you from the day you step on campus to the day you walk out. I've been in many campuses. I've been at Berkeley, I've been at Stanford, I've been at UC Santa Cruz, and we're comparable to UC Santa Cruz. UC Santa Cruz has a really good core of advisors, but again, I'm very proud to be accepted and walk alongst you guys, Stephanie, Priscilla, Saul, Lily, Elisa. And for you students, please, please, please take advantage of this wisdom, of this knowledge, this expertise, and you'll be fine. So my name is Hugo. I identify as Mexicano. I identify as immigrant. I identify as a Chicanx, Latinx person. I'm a first generation of college as well. I'm a husband and I'm a grandfather, a very, very young grandfather. And let me see. During my days off, I like to garden. I have a nice little garden in the back that has herbs. I have ipazote. I have oregano, Greek and Mexican oregano. I have chiles. I have tomatoes. I have 3 different kinds of chiles. Yeah, that's my joy is to go out and pick some herbs. I have hierbabuena, not the kind you smoke, but the kind you drink. And but yeah, that's my pride and joy is to go out there and get some herbs, get some chiles, kind of mix everything up and just taste the goodness of the earth. Well, that being said, I grew up a farm worker. I grew up in this valley when it was still 80%, 70% agricultural. And so, from the ages of 4 through the age of 12, I would spend my summers picking crops. And then I went to college, and I'm gonna go off script here and just say that one of the things that if I was giving advice to my younger self now about doing well in college, I would say invest in building a very, very good foundation in whatever your discipline is. If your discipline is psychology, make sure you know that Psych 1, that the neurobiology. Make sure you know that very, very well, because when you get to the upper division courses, it makes more sense. In my scenario, I went to a public high school. I was biology major, but I was way over my head, and I kind of just did the minimum just to get by. And later on, when I got to the upper division courses, my foundation wasn't strong. So when I advise students, regardless of your discipline, I'm gonna really be adamant about, come on, make sure you get that statistics 95 course. You know that really, really well. Make sure you take that biology or that chemistry or that psychology or that Chicano studies, and make sure you know that very, very well, because when you get to the upper division courses, you'll be able to apply that and think critically about this material, not just memorize. Let me see here. So what inspired me to be an academic advisor? My college education got interrupted when I was a junior. Unfortunately, my sister was diagnosed with brain cancer, brain tumor, and I stopped going to school to take care of her. Me and my parents took care of her until she passed away 2 years later. We suspect that she got cancer from, when we were working in the field, we would often get sprayed by DDT. We were farm workers. We could see the planes going over. We could smell the sweet DDT. DDT is a pesticide, and it is carcinogenic. Things are much better now for farm workers. Not better, but much better than they were before. So we just think that, over the years of working in the farms, that DDT got into her and caused her brain cancer. So I dropped out of school, and then I started working in the clinics. I started working at community health centers. Community health centers are those centers where people without insurance go, primarily poor, primarily uninsured, primarily immigrant. I worked at Gardner Health Center, the clinic in my community, and I started off as a clerk, working the front desk. And in 2 years, I was running the clinic. I was the director of the clinic, not the CEO, but the director of the clinic. And during that time, we started taking medical students in from UC Davis. And there was this old grumpy guy who, who's todo arrugado. He showed up with his clothes all unironed. He smoked like a chimney when he was out in the parking lot. His name was Dr. Montoya. One day I was in the parking lot, and Dr. Montoya said, "Hugo, we have a job opening at Davis. I've seen you when you give health education sessions to your patients, because in other words, the doctor would call me in to translate, etc. And I would end up doing health education with our patients. And he said, I've seen you. You have a good way for communicating with people of different knowledge levels. I think you might have a shot at getting, if you want to, making a career change and coming up to Davis and being a recruiter for our medical school. We have a new grant." So I did that. But one of the reasons that prompted me to change careers was because a community health center doesn't pay very well. And we were always having turnover with staff. And it was hard to hire nurses, nurse practitioners, and doctors. And one of the reasons was because, especially bilingual and people of color to work in the community health center, is because there's not enough of people of color going through the pipeline everywhere from college to the graduate programs. And so I got tired of telling my staff, you got to call the patients and counsel them for tomorrow because that doctor quit and we won't have anybody for 2 weeks. Finally, my staff said, you know what? This is really hard work. People are crying and saying, I've been waiting 2 weeks for this appointment. Now you got to tell me I got to wait 2 more weeks for another appointment? It's not fair. It's not fair that the working class people get second class healthcare. Okay, so to me it became an issue of social justice, and also a nice challenge to change careers and leave the clinic and convert into a pre-med advisor, not knowing anything about pre-med advising. They trained me well. Our program was really, really good. I remember our first year we have 20 first-generation students apply to medical school. I was surprised that all 20 got in. I go, dang, this stuff works. My confidence started growing. And primarily because I had really good coaching and I had great talent to work with. Our gente is so talented. One of my students is actually a world-renowned neurosurgeon. Another one is a faculty at UCLA School of Medicine. All the others are doing amazing work, taking care of everyday folks. And so, many years later, I'm still here. And I realized that I found my calling. My calling is to help people identify, first of all, explore what they want to do, identify their niche in life, whether it's, psychologist, running a clinic, professor in Chicano studies, public health person, helping you find your niche, and then helping you map that your plan to get there, and just doing it. So my philosophy is very similar to Saul's. It's multidisciplinary, it's holistic, because I myself am multidisciplinary, I'm holistic. I have a lot of issues going on with me when I was a student. I had financial issues. I was learning how to become a good college student. I was dealing with life issues when my sister got diagnosed with cancer. I was dealing with relationship issues, having my first real relationships with good friends, both and good romantic relationships. So I grew a lot during my first couple of years. And so when you come and see any one of us advisors, we're going to take all that into context. We're going to view you as a very complex individual who's got a lot of stuff going on. We're going to help you sort out, those things one by one, and then start addressing those needs one at a time, and eventually you'll do well, and you'll need us less and less. You just come to report your progress as opposed to the challenges you're experiencing. Yeah, so that's who I am, and that's what I bring to the table. And I really, really encourage you to take advantage of all that conocimiento and expertise that you have in front of you with these five counselors and the staff at the Chicanx Latinx Resource Center. Thank you.
Gracias, Hugo. And again, the importance of networking. Again, your academic advisors know more than just the class scheduling. They've been in this field or in other fields in academia or out in the community doing really important work on behalf and for our community. So definitely continue the conocimiento process beyond just your academic advising appointments. And there's different ways for you to continue that conocimiento process, which is whether you attend some of the Centro events or other events on campus. There's just so many ways that you can get involved and continue to get to know folks on a deeper level. I'm gonna turn it over to Priscila from the Access Student Success Center.
All right. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Priscila Brambila. A little bit about me. I grew up in the east side of Los Angeles. I grew up in a city called Montebello. Montebello will always be home to me. I'm a child of immigrant parents. My parents immigrated to the United States about 35 years ago. My dad grew up in Guadalajara, Jalisco. My mom grew up in Unión de Tula, Jalisco. So I feel really humble to have that background of immigrant parents who came to the United States seeking a better life. And all my parents had ever asked for me is to go to school, y échale ganas y sale, continue moving forward, right? So those were definitely some messages that were instilled in me growing up. Yeah, I love my family. I love spending time with them. Whenever I get a chance to travel back to Los Angeles, it's always really satisfying. Every Sunday we play loteria at my house. We're loud, we're very energetic people. We're all about just having a good time, listening to music and enjoying each other's company. What inspired me to be an academic advisor? I would say my last quarter at UC Santa Cruz, one of my close friend of mine, she was going through a lot of mental health issues. And that was my first exposure to hearing hearing her experience and understanding more about mental health. And to me, I felt like I was just extremely oblivious and I didn't understand depression. I didn't understand how someone so young can be encountering those type of issues. And, you know, again, me very oblivious, thought like we're young, we're having fun, we're going to college, like, and I didn't understand her depression. So that was a very eye-opening experience for me, where it allowed me to understand, I mean, we're college students, but life doesn't stop happening to us, right? There's so much that, so many different, I think, components that go into the life of a student that I didn't, I think, consider. So I felt like I wanted to be in a space in higher education where I had the chance to meet with students, get to know you better, and connect you with resources that will better support you, whether that's for your mental health, whether just for your personal well-being, for you to be the best self that you can be. So I would say it was a particular event that happened again closer to the end of my last year at UC Santa Cruz that just was really eye-opening to show me that as college students, we just experience so much. An academic advising philosophy that I would say that I practice is I'm all about building rapport, getting to know you a little bit better, because I think that the more connected or the more you communicate, as Lily was sharing earlier, your educational aspirations, your goals in life, I feel like the more information and guidance I can provide while also encouraging you to grow personally and provide that self-direction. You know, I have friends who graduated from the college that I attended and who are now lawyers, who are in medical school. So I never hesitate to connect students with my network, right? If students disclose to me like, hey, I have an interest in like applying to law school. Okay, and I inquire more. Do you know what the process is like? You know, do you know what, like, where you would like to attend? And I look for those opportunities to connect students to my network from people who are actually going through what students desire, where students desire to be. Knowing what I know now as an academic advisor, what advice would I give to my college age self? I would say I did a really good job at networking and creating friends, but I think I could have spent more time networking with staff and faculty. That's something that I didn't do as an undergraduate student. I would say I was very much that invisible student that didn't have a lot of interaction with people who worked at the college or university that I went to. And I knew about workshops, I knew about events that were happening, but I just wouldn't attend them. And I felt after I graduated from college, I was really lost. I didn't know where to go for support. I didn't know who can help me review my resume. Again, coming from a first generation college family, well, I'm the first in my family to go to college and earn a master's degree. It's not like I can consult with my parents, hey, can you help me review my resume? So I didn't know who to go to for support. And I wish that that's something that I took advantage of during my undergraduate career, when stuff was free and stuff was always like easy. It was easy to have access to, I guess, in some shape or form. But yeah, that's a little bit about me, and thank you.
Thank you, Priscilla, for your introduction, and we are so glad that you're here with us and that you're a part of our team. before we actually move on to the next, I know we're at 10 minutes till the hour. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there was one of our advisors, Jesus Santos from the College of Engineering, that was unable to join us this afternoon, but he did record a video message. And so I want to go ahead and play that for you all here.
Hola, bienvenidos a todos. Sorry I couldn't be there today. With everything that's going on with the fires and stuff, I've been feeling a little bit under the weather. So my supervisor has asked me to take some time. So I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I promise that I will be and rest as much as I can for Thursday's conocimiento, so that way we can get to know each other more. Any students majoring in engineering, or any students wanting to major in engineering, or just any students that want any advice of any kind, I would love to work with you. So a little something about myself. I identify as he and his. For places that I consider home, that's such a great question, because I'm from New Jersey, but I was born in Dominican Republic, like Cardi B. I am very outgoing, so I kind of tend to just get things like that in my head, so don't mind me. But yeah, so I consider home a lot of different places. Right now, physical place is San Francisco. I come from Dominican Republic, but I was raised in New Jersey. So my social identities of where I consider home, varies. My parents are Dominican as well, but they met in the US. We ended up moving to my country due to my older brother health issues, and it just so happened to, be born there. But we did spend 12 years there, 3 years before I was alive, and then 9 years. So I moved to the US, actually a month after 9/11, crazy enough. So during my days off, I enjoy, typically, if there's no COVID or anything, road trips, going to the beach, going hiking, traveling. That's usually why I request days off anyway. So traveling is always like a big thing for me. I love traveling, especially as of recently. And that's definitely a privilege that I'm very happy, and I can discuss with you more of places around here to travel to, or any places that you want to go to. I can give you suggestions as well. What or who inspired you to be an academic advisor? That's such a great question. So I didn't know what I wanted to do in my undergrad. I thought I wanted to be a writer, but I had this really great EOF in the East Coast. It's called EOF, but here it's EOP advisor, whose name is Nicole Baker. And she was just always so helpful. And I would see her once a semester at least, just to vent. Most of the time it was to change my major. It was to change my concentration. I wanted to do journalism, then I wanted to do writing, then I wanted to do lit, and then, many different things. But really, Nicole Baker and Michael Laporta from Ramapo College have been my biggest mentors, and Ian Reynolds too. So I was an RA when I was in undergrad, and they always pushed me to do more, and I had a really great academic advisor. And I was I was an RA, and I was already helping students make their schedules and stuff. I would just literally be hanging out in the lobby and had students just asking questions. And I just really love working with people and wanting to make a difference. I also do social work outside of this too, with clients who have lost custody of their kids. So I always knew that I wanted to work with people and make a difference in the world. So I just decided on college, because I had a really great and amazing college experience that I was every person should have an amazing college experience. So that's kind of my mantra. As to I'm an academic advisor. And how I navigated the university, both as a student and as a new staff member. So as a student, I really just asked a lot of help. I really asked help from people who I knew were my mentors. And if I didn't know that they were my mentors, I'm I kind of need a mentor, kind of grabbing onto them, So really it's about comfort level and who you interact with. And as a staff member, it's always hard. People tend to think that just because you're over that, like, you know, undergrad hump and like now you're a professional adult, that you should know everything, and you don't, you know. So I have a really great staff that I get a lot of support with and from. So they really help me out a lot in a lot of things. My academic advising philosophy is really to treat each person individually and to treat each problem individually, and not to want to overgeneralize a person's certain struggle. You know, I really try to listen, be there for you, acknowledge that, you know, experiences are difficult, and you know, people go through very different walks of life. So, you know, just being open to that mindset, and being receptive and being thankful for having you all, like, you know, reach out to us and like be open, and, you know, that really puts a lot of weight for the bi-directional communication between the two of us. So yeah, and like, you know, me and myself, like I've lived through a lot of different experiences, not all great, but having people who would really listen to me, that's kind of like what I've taken in advising knowledge as well. So knowing what I know now, what advice would I give to myself? Stop taking everything so seriously, and like deadlines are, yes, they're good to follow, but there are some things in life that will happen, and really just be open to them, and stop putting everything in a rush. And like if things don't work out like during this time, like you have to like do something else, or like you have to be more. I tend to ask too much for myself, which I know a lot of people do. Like you tend to be way overcritical as to who you are. So really just be easy on yourself, and know when you make mistakes, and know that people make mistakes and they still get to great places without, you know, without having like this perfect roadmap. So that's who I am. Muchísimas gracias por venir a este programa. And yeah, I'm just so excited to be working with you all throughout the semester, and I hope that we can meet in person soon. My drop-in hours would be, I believe, Thursdays from 12 to 1, but confirmed early. Right. Ciao.
And that brings us to our closing of who our academic advisors are at Centro. And again, we are going to continue the conocimiento process throughout this rest of the week. I know some folks had questions in the chat that were very specific advising questions, and that's exactly what we're going to be covering in the college-specific advising sessions that are upcoming this week. And so I'm going to ask Elisa here in a minute to go ahead and include the link in our chat for you to be able to register to those if you haven't already done so. But again, I can't stress enough the importance of making connections with your academic advisors and with the 5 Centro liaisons that are here today with us. I just want to thank each and every one of them for being one of our partners. And really, as you heard through their stories, many of them had very similar experiences as you, trying to navigate the university if they were the first in their families to go to college. Same thing with me. I almost did not graduate. I found out in my senior year that I was short, I think it was 8 units to graduate. And so you could only imagine the stress that I went through when I heard that news. And again, it was because I had not been meeting with an academic advisor. And so we really want you to take advantage of folks that are here that are introducing themselves. So I don't want folks to just say, oh, I met with an advisor. The importance of knowing people's names, right? The importance of knowing this is a person, una persona que está aquí. They're here to support me. And it's not just an advisor, it's Jesus, it's Stephanie, it's Saul, it's Hugo, and they're here to support me, and not just through my academic advising question needs, but throughout my journey at San Jose State. They are here and they are committed because they themselves have gone maybe through something similar, and they're here to pay it forward. So we really hope you take advantage of connecting with them. I'm going to be sharing the upcoming college-specific time-sensitive advising information sessions that are happening the rest of this week. So tomorrow, if you're in the Health and Human Sciences and in the College of Education, those will be happening tomorrow. And I apologize here with education. Saul, can you remind me the time of your session?
2:30 to 3:30.
2:30 to 3:30. I just noticed that we did not include that in here. So that will be tomorrow. On Wednesday, the 26th, we will have the College of Engineering, and that's going to be with Jesus. And then we're going to end it with Thursday, the 27th, with Stephanie and with Priscilla. So social science will be from 2 to 3, and then humanities and the arts will be from 3:30 to 4:30. Now, this is where you're going to be answering those very college-specific questions. I know people were asking some of those in the chat, like how do I make an appointment if I'm a psychology major, and what advising tool do I use to be able to make those appointments? They're going to be going over all of that, again, because it's so different for each college. If you're undeclared, you have what's called academic advising and retention services that you can go to seek additional support, but you're more than welcome to join these sessions as well as you're thinking about declaring a major maybe within one of these colleges here. Again, you have to use your SJSU account to be able to log in to these college-specific advising sessions. Oh, and I see, Belen, I see your question about College of Business. So we are hoping to have our College of Business liaison within the next couple of weeks. We're still working out the partnership there. We don't have College of Science, unfortunately, for this year. And again, these are just liaisons to Centro. It doesn't mean we don't have any business advisors, but to the liaisons to Centro. So we don't have that liaison just yet for business, but hopefully within the next couple of weeks. And then for the College of Science, unfortunately, we won't have that until spring 2021. So we'll stay updated on that. But please know that you can access even if they're not within your major, a lot of our advisors here are really well knowledgeable in GE advising. There are stuff that's GE advising particular to your major, but there's a lot of policies and procedures that's universal, and you can always ask those questions of our advisors here today.
If you're interested in College of Science and perhaps thinking about a health career, come and see me.
There you go. Thank you, Hugo.
And I'll know when to stop. Say, hey, that's College of Science, but I'll introduce you to somebody.
We'll refer you. Yes, that's the other key piece, is that we specialize in referring you not just to a center, but a person, right? So we call it the handoff, that we can pick up the phone and say, okay, Jamie, I have a student here from College of Science that needs to talk to you. So we want to make sure you get into the right hands. So thank you, Hugo, for offering that. And lastly, we would just want you all to save the date as part of our Latinx Heritage Month. It's going to be starting on September 15th. We're going to have our kickoff event called La Bienvenida. And this is an opportunity to meet not only the advisors, but the rest of the San Jose State faculty and staff and students that are excited to welcome you to the start of the new academic year. And so we're calling this your Local Mercado, Spartan Mercado for Success, one-stop shop. So we hope you will join us. That will be on September the 15th from 5 to 6:30. And you can find the link to register in our various social media accounts. So if you're not already following us on Instagram, you can do that. It's just look up SJS or Centro_SJSU. And you can also find that via our website. So we hope that you had a great session learning more about our academic advisors. Again, I want to thank our academic advisors for their time. And again, muy buena suerte, good luck these next couple of weeks. We know it's been a very challenging last couple of months. This summer, with all the unprecedented times that we're experiencing, please don't hesitate to reach out. And good luck, everyone. Y nos vemos sooner than later. Take care.
And don't forget to vote.
Yes, come November. Gracias, Hugo.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Hasta mañana.
Bye.